Hey there, Terp fans. It is DJ Smiley broadcasting from Radio Free Terpswin B1G, bringing you attack strategies so dangerously hardcore that they tried to shut us down, but we managed to get reinstated. So we're gonna stick it to the man by showing some hardcore attacks here. As I have a sip of my honey lemon tea because even dangerous renegades like myself enjoy a nice cup of tea. So the first attack we're going to show is on Emily. Paul jumped on Emily with an attack strategy that is it's something that you've probably never seen before. So Paul's been playing around with some different compositions, adding some Valkyrie here at my suggestion, but also adding his own spin on it with a dragon for cleanup. And let's throw in some witches, and sure, let's just throw in a haste too. So, like with a lot of great artists, sometimes you can, kind of dissect the work and see what's going on there and the different elements that he brings. And some great artists, you just kind of have to go with the flow and accept that they know what they're doing, and they bring enough elements to the attack that it works out, and it was a really solid 3-star here against one of their better Town Hall 9s. Not a super hardcore Town Hall 9, but still pretty solid. So Paul's going to come at this quasi strategically placed Archer Queen here outside, and with the kill squad here, and going to pop the haste here just because he wants to get into the core as soon as possible. Unfortunately, his Burger King decided that he was going to come over here and start cleaning up this area here instead of going into the core. But that ended up working out okay because the Golem and the Valkyrie all charge in, and a bunch of the wizards and start clearing out the core. And then Paul has his dragon, which I think he dropped somewhere around here, just kind of cleaning out this core, or cleaning out this edge, taking out the air defense or archer tower here, and really just, got a lot of value out of these 10 back end hogs kind of running back through here. So a little bit complicated, but it ended up working out really nicely for him. So I wanted to show off this attack, and let's go ahead and watch it. Let me have some of my honey lemon tea again. So there we go with a funnel. I think he's trying to create a kind of a landing strip there for his Valkyrie, making sure that they go into the core. He does a good job with that, but unfortunately, so the Valkyrie do go into the core, but unfortunately the Burger King is not agreeable to that, and he decides to go around, like I said. But he does have a couple of skeletons and a couple of wizards behind him, and it ends up being pretty effective for a kind of a broken play. And here comes the hogs. So the hogs are charging in. They take out that archer tower, run past the Burger King, start taking out a couple more defenses, drops a heal on those, and then here comes the dragon cleaning up this side as the Burger King makes his way around the northwest. The dragon kind of slowly but surely makes his way around the southwest. And at this point, the hogs have taken out a big chunk of defenses that we really just have the air defense, which isn't going to do much. A Tesla is going down there to the Archer Queen. And at this point, it's just that Archer Tower there by the dragon, not going to do enough damage to really bother a level 4 dragon. And then there's that mortar there at the bottom. But essentially and a wizard tower down there. But at this point, there's really not much that's going to jeopardize this raid unless there's a huge stack of air bombs, which is why I don't usually like to mix one air troop in with a ground attack, just because if you get unlucky, he could get a whole mess of air bombs and end up being taken out without it adding any value. But since Paul had him as kind of cleaning one edge, saving some time there for him, it ended up working out really nicely. So The second one's going to be another complicated attack. This one may be a little bit more straightforward in its complexity, but here we have Jeff Jr. on Austin, and this is basically it's kind of it looks no, I guess I missed that on the first one. I thought it might have only had 3 mortars, but Jeff does a good job of taking out those mortars early. So it's a little bit of a complicated attack, but he does a good job seeing this base is wide open, and he can make it even more wide open by dropping 4 earthquakes over here, and it essentially just becomes a huge wide open space that mass witches, and here he brings 8 witches here, can just run through the base. And when you're doing a mass witch, the thing that's going to take out your witches is probably going to be these mortars. So I think Jeff has his kill squad take out the Archer Queen and this mortar here, and then this mortar here is the next biggest threat, and he has these 4 hogs and gets a ton of value out of these 4 hogs. Because he's gonna, with the skeletons providing cover, he's gonna have the hogs shoot up through the middle, and they're gonna take out this mortar. But not just that, they're gonna run all the way through this base, and at least one of them survives to come up here and start cleaning out these defenses. So for a small amount of hogs, even if you had them in the clan castle, I don't remember what's in there. He got a lot of value out of that. Also added some loons there. Drops a giant over here to distract this archer tower, and then just floats a loon and a wizard over here to just start the cleanup process from the beginning. So he still has let's see, he still has these mortars to worry about, but by the time he's going to get within those mortar ranges, he's probably going to take out about half the base, and he'll probably have enough witches alive that that he can get more than that. And at that point, there really isn't a ton of stuff that's going to pose a risk for his golem and Burger King and Archer Queen. So even if the witches do go down to those far mortars, he's probably cleared out enough of the base that it's not going to risk the 3-star. So let's go ahead and we watch the attack. Pretty easy lure there with the incredibly off-centered clan castle. Could have dropped a poison on him, but he wanted to save that for 2 rages and a heal. So he's dragging the clan castle down to the south with the archer anchor. Little archer is going to kill that anchor, but by that time he's gotten everybody down there. And then I think he's just going to drop the golem. Nope, there's another archer. He does have a couple of level 3 witches in the clan castle. That's new with this update, is that there's now level 3 witches. They're pretty powerful, although in tomorrow's update it looks like all witches are going to get a slight nerf because skeleton hit points are going to be decreased. So we'll have to see what that does with level 2 witches. But alright, let's focus on the witches. Just dropping a couple at a time. There goes the hogs. That mortar's distracted by the golem. Both of the mortars are distracted. Archer Queen just picking off some stuff. Not too much risk. Archer Queen's probably going to take out that mortar after she takes out the Burger King. And there's a big line of skeletons setting off spring traps, making skeleton confetti. Working towards the core, raging the witches. Rage on witches, you get a ton of skeletons out there, and it can be a huge wave of destruction. But you also have to worry that about the witches just kind of rushing out into the front of the battle. So it can be kind of a double-edged sword there. You want to make sure you use those carefully, and Jeff does a good job here. You also need to pay attention to the witches because they can survive. I think they can survive 1 mortar blast, but not 2. So that's why he's brought that heal there as they approach that far mortar and just start taking out the defenses. So while they're under that heal, they should be pretty solid. Again, look at that one hog just doing, being a hero, taking out far more defenses than you would have expected by dropping such a small number on the opposite side. And at this point, it's just cleanup. So beautiful mass switch attack, really good base identification. A little bit complicated with adding the loons and the hogs, but he definitely had a plan for it, and it worked out beautifully. So really nice attack by Jeff Jr. So we have, we featured a couple of really complicated attacks, and now we're going to go to just mostly keeping it simple. But Pants had a couple of 3 stars here this war against Kevin and they're 13 and 14. So a couple of slump busters here, going back to his roots, going with a straight GoHo. These bases, ring bases, they're anti-golem. They make the golem as you attack them. They're really, really, really common with Town Hall 10s. But you see them also with Town Hall 9s, and they can get kind of confusing for a lot of different army compositions because you have to be careful that the golems aren't just going to run around while the expos destroy them. So Pants decided to avoid all that nonsense and just come through with a straight GoHo. You bring in a bunch of wall breakers. Let's get Mr. Quickie. Bringing in a bunch of wall breakers and just getting that golem straight into this Archer Queen. And then from there, it's basically just, dropping a couple poison on the clan castle. But from there, it's basically just a straight wall of hogs over here. He has 4 heal spells. That's going to cover pretty much all of the base here. I mean, so his hogs are going to be running through this base just, without having to really worry too much about anything. He does one kind of interesting element that I think he maybe had a couple bad hog attempts that he ended up getting unlucky and having the hogs all poof on one bomb, maybe 2/3 of the way through the attack. So I think he in both of his attacks, which were both 3 stars, so good job with it for having a 6-star war pants. But he had he has a whole mess of hogs here, 34 hogs. So I think he only drops about 26 of them, only 26, this way, and keeps about 8 over here on the back end. So as soon as he's going to drop that last heal, he's also going to send those hogs in. And that's just kind of an insurance policy against, dropping your heals and maybe missing a giant bomb here or here, and your main hog pack goes into bacon. So he has that reserve that, if something bad happens, they're just going to come in here, and 8 hogs under a heal can clean out a huge part of the base, especially if you still have your heroes up. So let's go ahead and watch this attack with a really nice, not a super complicated strategy, but you also don't need to be super complicated. There we go. One hog for the lure. Brings him over here on the kill squad. I think he's probably used to trying to save time. The clock used to be such a big killer for GoHos. But now with the extra 30 seconds, you probably could have just dropped the poisons on top. And again, as long as one of those poisons is a max poison, that is strong enough to kill a level 5 dragon. So if you're carrying 2 poisons, that you should be able to get rid of pretty much anything in a clan castle. Even if there's a hound, you have 2 poisons and you can spread them out, and when the hound pops, you have a huge area that you can cover to kill all those pups. There we go with the main hog assault. Lose a couple to a spring. Does a nice job evenly spacing out and delaying those heals to try to get maximum value out of them. You can see that the hogs are going up north there, so drops another heal there. They run through a couple bombs. Just a really not a great layout by this guy, but in not having double bombs there, but still, as the last heal goes down, Pants sends in his reserve hogs. They're distracted and they come up and they sneak up behind the wizard tower, and at this point, it's all cleanup. So there's the Burger King alive, but that's not going to withstand 20 hogs and 2 heroes that are still alive, and they're just running around cleaning up this base. So great job. Good to see such a efficient GoHo. With all the new strategies coming out from the various updates, the old ones still work, and Pants is showing us how to do it. Until next time, let's go Terps.